Go on to supervisors with a question for them now. And I'll follow this up with each of you. Cheryl Wagner, you'll answer this one first, please. Supervisors are paid $25,910 annually in full medical coverage. Is that an appropriate salary for a part-time job?
I never set the salary, but we do work hard. Sometimes it's a full-time job, some months. Not only do we go to the meetings and do research before and after the meetings, but we all sit on 6 other committees that we report back to the board with. And I can tell you those that I serve on. I serve on the 2nd Judicial District Corrections Services in Fort Dodge. It rehabilitates offenders to get them back to the public life and the funding that goes with that. I sit on Partners for Families that deals with children 0 to 5 years of age and their education and health. I sit on the DCAP board in Carroll. That deals with federal and state grants. I sit on the Region 12 Policy Council in Carroll. That deals with block grants, housing grants, transit, and many other programs. I sit on the Mental Health Disability Disorders Stakeholders Committee in Carroll. It deals with funding for consumers with disabilities. I sit on the Human Service Coalition Committee in Carroll. It's made of several human service organizations that meet. Thank you.
Cheryl, I'm going to follow this up and suspend the 1-minute rule for you. You don't have to feel like you take a ton of time with this unless you choose to. How many hours per week do you typically spend on the job as supervisor?
Well, I've never figured it out. I've never written it down. A lot, though. A lot.
Thank you. Neil Bach, the question about the supervisor's salary, $25,910 a year in full medical coverage. Is that an appropriate salary for a part-time job?
It's an appropriate salary, and it's enough that you should really expect a lot out of your supervisors. You should never hear a supervisor complain that they have too much work to do. I don't think you do, but I think it's an appropriate amount. When I was in, you can't hear me, can you? Okay. You know, when I was in private business myself, I don't think...
I'm not sure it's on.
Let me check.
We're having technical difficulties here. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, well, I'll just holler it out then. The question was, do the supervisors, are they paid enough or an appropriate amount? Yes, they are paid enough, and I believe it is an appropriate amount, particularly for a supervisor that puts in the time that they should.
Thank you, Neil Bach. We have, as it turns out, a question for the Office of Recorder. I've almost completely lost track. Sarah Biter, you can answer this one first. As the number of real estate transactions change, do you expect the total staff hours to change? What else affects staff workload in the recorder's office?
I do not expect the man hours that are needed in the recorder's office because more things are going electronic. I mean, things can be done faster. You can do more things with less people. So I do not see an increase in employment in that department. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Marilyn Depite?
Right now, we have adequate staff. I have a full-time deputy and a part-time clerk. We handle whatever comes over our counter. And some days, it isn't an 8 to 5 job, 8 to 4:30 job. When the doors close, sometimes that's when our work starts. You're going to see vehicles parked outside. We do what it takes to get the job done, and the work gets done on a daily basis. Real estate cannot wait for days. It has to be done in a timely manner. Birth, death, and marriage records have to be issued. People wait for their vital records. Families need to be supported. Everything has to be done in a timely manner. That is part of the recorder's office. It is all done by time.
Thank you, Marilyn Depite. Now for our House candidates. Daniel Bauer, you'll get this one first. Would you vote to bring the issue of same-sex marriage to the floor in Des Moines? And if it comes to the floor to vote, how would you vote?
Same-sex marriage is a union between a man and a woman, and that's where it's at. And if it comes to the floor, yes, I would vote that gay marriages are not there. Marriage is between a man and a woman. Period.
Thank you, Daniel Bauer. Dan Dirks?
Ditto.
For the representative candidates, Dan Dirks, you can be first. How will you resist pressure from party leaders when it goes against serving your constituents, in your opinion?
Well, I got to tell you, before I serve my constituents, I serve my Savior and my Lord. And I think by doing that, I can serve my constituents. Because I wouldn't be getting involved in this if I didn't know in my heart of hearts that there's enough good people in this district to vote me in to be their representative. And I'm not doing this for a hidden agenda. I'm not doing this because I ain't got nothing else to do. I got plenty of other things to be doing. I'm doing this because it needs to be done and I'm capable of doing it. And anybody that knows me knows that when I get punched in the nose, I don't sit down, I stand up and take a step forward. That's figuratively, by the way. It's been a long time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Dirks. Dan Muehlbauer, how will you resist pressure from party leaders when it goes against serving your constituents?
Well, first of all, I'm running here to serve the people of this district. And that is number one. I have 2 boys out here that are in the farming business. I'm putting them into this business. I am really concerned about our area and what is going on and what is best for us. I am very bipartisan. Back here we have Steve Kettering, Rod Roberts, you know him quite well. For years, I have hosted Steve and Rod in Manila and Asmal areas, showing that I am very bipartisan. I will work the lines, and I will do what is right to serve you out here in our district. And that is first for us. That's where we have to go. I'm going to ask you, and if you recall going to our door knocking and our phone calls, I asked you people, what thoughts, what concerns do you have, so I can take my ideas to Des Moines along with your ideas as well. I'm here to serve you. Thank you.
Dan Muehlbauer, this might very well be your last question tonight before closing comments. Should the state ban on smoking in public places be repealed?
No, I think it's a good law. People are used to not smoking in there already. It's been passed. It's done with. I think it's a good law. Leave it where it's at, and let's go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Muehlbauer. Dan Dirks?
I think when somebody reads the history books down the road and they realize that the state of Iowa was so blatant about writing this law that they allowed smoking in their state-sanctioned casinos. And why? Because it was going to hurt their revenue. It's an infringement of our personal rights. This is America. You have the right to be wrong. There's plenty of other things that are more offensive than secondhand smoke. There's things like having a gay marriage in a park. Or there's things like a politician saying that they're not going to vote for certain leadership when they get to Des Moines. There's other things that are more offensive than secondhand smoke, and I believe it should be repealed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Dirks.